Hi, Cayne and Ruby. How are you?
Hi, Andrew.
Nice to see you guys. Well, welcome to Subbuteo-Trailblazers. Well, it's good to see you. Now, recently, Cayne, you had a birthday, didn't you?
I did, yeah. We
Yeah,
all get
so
up then.
so happy birthday there. And actually,
Thank you.
today, if I remember correctly, it's one of your mates' birthdays, Brian Daly's birthday, right?
It is, yeah.
Excellent. So, how many birthdays have you had now, Cayne, if you don't mind me asking?
Me, 55.
Wow, excellent. Well, I'm not far behind you. I will be 54 in March, so there we go.
There you go.
Excellent.
Not a bad age.
Not a bad age at all. No, not a bad age. And how has the pandemic been treating you guys in terms of like activity restrictions, etc.?
Well, that was obviously quite a while ago now.
We were okay really because we had a table at home and there was both of us, so we could play regularly and we played more because we were here all the time.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so when the lockdown happened, it's when you have a table at home and two people, it doesn't stop you playing, does it? Which
No,
it's stopped a lot of people playing.
no, that's right. That's right. Now, I mention that because I'm here in Japan and things are a little bit slower here in terms of getting back to normal. In fact, we're all still wearing masks when we go outside, but from May, we'll get back to normal. That's why I asked you. Well, that's good. Now, I know you're pressed for time because you texted me. You have another
Yeah, Ruby's
meeting.
got a friend's birthday party to go to.
Well, that is very important. No, totally understandable. Ruby, you excited about that?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So I'll probably start with you, Cayne, because of course you came first naturally. So how did you get into Subbuteo? What got you started? And the big question is, what kept you going? Because the game evolved quite a bit, hasn't it?
Well, pretty normal to most people. Got a box set in early 70s for Christmas. Played. We played in school with friends. Normal. Played at home. I had a brother, so you played at home. And then in the teenage years, I entered competitions and played. And then you leave school, go and do other things, stop playing. And then I didn't play for about 35 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's quite a layoff, isn't it? So when did you come back to it?
2016, so
Ah,
8 years ago.
wow. Well, time flies. And
Six
how
years
about
ago, 7 years ago, something like that.
right? Yeah. So yeah, about 35 years is quite a while, but you got back into it. And when you came back into it, it had totally changed. So what got you into it? Because I know a lot of guys I played with when I went to Europe. I've got relatives in Italy, and they were crazy about it. But when it changed, a lot of people kind of dropped off. There wasn't the same amount of players. So what got you back into it?
Well, because I played earlier, almost on a whim, I built a table and started playing, thinking it would be like a Scalextric set and come out twice a year, and you'd have a fun afternoon, and that'd be it twice a year or something. And Ruby got interested in playing, but obviously when we came back, it was all pretty much the modern game, and obviously people have their favorite set of rules, but I'm just pretty much play the modern game. And if I was a football team and I set a club up, we'd play the rules of the day.
Excellent. No, that's a good answer. Excellent. Totally understanding. So, how did you get into it, Ruby? Because it's difficult to get young people into this kind of game with all the digital things that are happening.
Well, Dad showed it me 7 years ago now, and I instantly was able to flick and picked up the rules pretty fast. And because Dad built a table, we played. And then I think the first event we went to was Cardiff,
Mm.
and we met more people, and then it's slowly progressed.
Excellent. And what was your first set? Do you remember, or did you just get into the pro bases, or was it a
It
gradual?
was Sure Shots, I think it was, and it'd be a Liverpool team on it.
Right. Right, naturally, yeah. All you guys are into Liverpool and the real team, so naturally that would reflect in Subbuteo, wouldn't it? That's good, excellent. And so Cayne, now Ruby mentioned making tables. Now you actually have a business making tables. Is that a side business, a hobby? Tell us a little bit about that.
It's probably more of a hobby, but it came from when we were setting up local events. Obviously, tables were needed, and I worked with an old school friend who owns a wood company, let's say, and we can make very high quality tables. But it's very much just a little side hobby.
You know, I saw some of your tables. Excellent carpentry there. So are you a carpenter by trade or?
No. Last time I did woodwork at any training level would have been in school.
Wow, excellent. It's quite impressive. So how can people reach you if they want a Subbuteo table made? Because I know a lot of people.
Obviously, there's a Facebook page. Just look up bespoke Subbuteo tabletops there, and obviously it's a large item. It only really works for someone in the UK, really. Although I did send one to Northern Ireland once.
Yeah, definitely would be people in your area, because the postage would kill anybody wanting to move those things. Even getting pictures from Europe over here is half the cost is actually the mailing of the item. But no, that's good. So bespoke, what is it? Bespoke or bespoke?
Bespoke Subbuteo tabletops.
Okay, so there you go. So
or contact me via Facebook.
Right, so anybody can find you at use your name, right? Cayne Matthews.
Yes, it's my name. So
excellent. So there we have it. Excellent. And so, what are your favorite bases now, Ruby? So you said you started with Sure Shot, and
I began with Sure Shots, and I went to Snipers and Sniper Radicals, and I played with them for a few years, and I currently play on Extreme Works Universal Base. And they've improved my game. So
now they make various ranges of that, don't they? Different weights. So which weights do you find good for you?
Is it what's
you're on
weight?
the 0.1.
0.1 weight.
So the very light base is the lightest one they do.
Excellent, excellent. So that goes hand in hand with maybe the style of play. So tell us a little bit about your style of play.
Personally, I like to play quite fast, or to a certain pace anyway, but I sometimes slow down when I think and process what's going to happen. But I do like playing fast and having like moving ball shots because they just come more naturally to me.
Excellent. And who told you that? Who taught you that technique? Was it your dad? Was it Brian or another club member?
It was Brian Daly. He taught me most stuff.
Excellent, excellent. Now he actually got me onto totally different bases. The Astro base, what are they? CC5s, the tri-base ones. Have you flicked with those or?
I've possibly flicked them if Brian has them because he has a few different bases, but I've never played with them personally.
Right, no, that's okay. And Cayne, what style of play mainly? Describe your style of play. That's probably a better way.
Any style that enables me to still hit the ball.
Okay, all right. So you're very adaptable and fluid as a player.
I wouldn't really like to say I've got any set style. And from game to game it can change depending on who you're playing. Some games you might play it really open and you didn't plan to, and you might be faster in a certain game than another game, or it's a bit like real football. Any set it's very hard to predict how any one game will go.
Yeah, no, you sound like quite the strategist. That's good. Now, you guys went over to Italy recently. Well, last year, wasn't it? What was it, September or was it earlier?
In September, yes. Ruby played for the England team.
Wow, excellent. Ruby, so tell us about that experience.
I can't lie, I was really nervous when I played because it was my first European tournament, but it was a great experience and I met a lot of new people.
Excellent, excellent. So who are you facing? I mean, what age did you play in the open tournament in your age
No,
group?
I played in my age group, which is the under 16 category.
Uh-huh. And who did you face in your group? Can you remember that?
One of the boys, he was French. He was called Louis Soret. I think that's how you pronounce it. A Maltese lad and an Italian, but I don't know their names.
That's okay, very good. And how did you get on? I don't really have that information, sorry, so I've got to ask you now. How did you get on in that tournament?
Well, in my first game, I won. In my second game, I drew, and in my last game, I lost. So down to goal difference, I never got out of my group. I came third, but it was great experience.
Yeah, I mean that was World Championship, wasn't it? The World Cup. So excellent, very good, very good. And are you lining up to enter any other tournaments in the near future, or what is happening?
Well, our calendar's pretty full at the minute. I think we're going to Scotland, Glasgow in a couple of weeks. We've got English Championships. We're then going to Belgium at the start of March. And we've got another England Championships in March as well. And then we're going to Belgium and Ireland later on in the year.
Wow, that is a full calendar. And you guys will be hosting the World Cup next year, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A shorter journey for that one.
Yeah.
Sorry?
A shorter journey for that one.
Okay, that's good. Excellent. And do you guys know what pitches will be used in that? Well, I think I asked Elliot that, and he wasn't sure. I think he was pushing for the Extreme Works, and I know you like the Extreme Works pitch, don't you, Cayne?
The ESA, I think they're pretty much all Extreme Works pitches, so I'd expect that's what they'll be using come the World Cup.
Yeah, I've heard mention of the Extreme Works pitches being used as well.
Excellent. And you think that would favor the English team more, or why is England so into the Extreme Works, whereas continental Europe kind of mixes them up? A lot of Astrobase, which you guys played on recently, right? The Astrobase FT type.
Yeah, that was the pitch we used in the World Cup. But I don't know what it is, but most of the England players use Extreme Works pitches, and because we've always played on them, we prefer how they play, and we find them at a fast pace for the players.
So you like more of the speedy kind of pitch to play on. It matches your style.
Yeah.
Because obviously some people might prefer a slower pitch.
Yeah.
So obviously they would answer. But if you like a pitch that glides nice, especially with a bit of humidity or anything, Extreme Works are probably the best.
All right. No, that's fair enough. Fair enough. And have you had any particular player that's been your role model, or a particular player that you modeled your play style on, or?
Well, it was Brian Daly who taught me a lot, and I always looked up at him for something that I could progress to play at his level. But there's also like Elliot. He started at a similar age to me, and he's also a really good player now as well.
Excellent. That's pretty good. Excellent. So you guys belong to the same club as Brian, or do you have your own club?
No, for Fistiff, we currently play for the Wobbly Hobby Subbuteo Club, run by Alan Lay. Okay,
so tell us a little bit about that club.
There's a good selection of UK players signed with the club. It's obviously to attend Fistiff events, and I think in Glasgow we got 2 teams. There'll be there's a team, we're not going, but there's a team in Paris for the club next weekend. So it's a collection of players who look to travel and play as much as possible.
And we also have 2 of the England kids playing in the team as well, me and Finlay.
Wow, that's good. That's good. And that's my next question I was going to ask you, because I kind of alluded to this at the beginning. Young people in Subbuteo, I don't see many around. Is it what? How do you think, or what do you think would be important in attracting younger players these days? Because they're all into digital kind of gadgets and whatever. How would you introduce Subbuteo to your friends, for example?
In the UK, it's probably a completely different situation than a lot of countries in Europe, where they didn't have big gaps and there's more communities and families involved, and clubs will meet up and they've got grandparents, parents, the children, and obviously they're playing Subbuteo, making food. It's a social event, and obviously that's been going on and grown for years. Obviously, with such a gap and so many players who've just returned in the UK, obviously there has been very few younger players coming through or playing, and short term, probably the only way that'll change is if players bring their own children. And then obviously once there is more, I suppose the next step is attracting children whose parents aren't involved in the game. But I think really probably the only way we'd get there would be to have school involvement or involvement with some teachers. Or
well, we've seen that being done before in a previous World Cup. A teacher played and he got some of his pupils to play, and they played in the in a World Cup for England.
That was 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
now, wasn't
when
it?
I first began.
So it's in the UK, it's a strange thing. The average age isn't really going down much. So without a bit of new blood, it is going to disappear.
Yeah, Elliot alluded to that. I think one of his suggestions was to get someone that's pretty with the kids these days, and to get them involved that way, like you mentioned, at school level or at club level, at sports level, or something like that.
That's it. Local football teams taking it on board, or it's and as you say, competing with the digital world and mobile phones. One-to-one combat actually there, face-to-face, isn't something that some people like anymore. Hiding away in bedrooms, tapping on screens is not the same sort of tactile game that lays before you on a table.
No, but strangely enough, even here in Japan, they're all kind of into that kind of thing. But strangely enough, if you get them to try, they're all quite amazed, because there's something about the tactile feeling of flicking something, hitting, and it actually, if they're into the sport, it kind of simulates football, right? And they kind of get hooked on it. The problem is keeping them addicted to it, because they're distracted with homework and then other things, and then you never see them again. So
obviously just the size of a table can be an issue. Obviously Ruby's grown up. We have a Subbuteo table on our dining room table 365 days of the year. So she's got access and can play and train and practice whenever she wants. I'm sure a lot of children would get in a lot of trouble if they wanted a Subbuteo-sized table on their dining room table. I'm sure a lot of mums wouldn't allow it.
No, you'd have to have a spare room, an attic or something like that. That's one of the issues we have in Japan, because housing here is it's
a
tiny.
lot smaller.
It's like rabbit hutches almost. So that's one of the issues. So, but I wanted to ask you, moving on from that, how do you prepare for tournaments, or what do you focus? How do you keep motivated? That's almost 3 questions there for you, Ruby.
Me and Dad play a lot, so sometimes when we know there's an event, we might play a bit more often, or I might do shooting practice and not long ago, we went to Brian Daly's house for some games to prepare for events.
Excellent, excellent. So he's still quite involved in your development.
Yeah, every time I see him, he always tells me something extra I can add to my game and ways to improve.
Excellent, excellent. So let's move on to the rules, and I usually ask the people I interview the same question. So this is more a like and dislike about the current rules, because you've been playing for quite some time now again. So what are some of the rules that you really like about the modern game of, if you can call it Subbuteo, table football? And what are some of the rules that kind of irritates you a little bit and you'd hope, if it was only like this or like that?
But me, the smashing rule, I can see why it's there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, having someone have 5 players took out of their defence in one flick is a good, makes the rule stop that. But sometimes when you've just clipped and pushed a player onto another player in a tight situation where you're not looking to gain any advantage, and obviously you're giving free kicks away, which can seem harsh. But overall, I prefer the more modern game. Probably the one rule that transformed it the most was being able to use a figure in your own half to shoot with.
Okay, yeah.
Because obviously the old game, the shooting figure, obviously the ball has to be in the shooting area, but the shooting figure had to be in that half. Well, obviously now, obviously with modern bases and everything, you can use a figure anywhere on the pitch, which can lead to some very exciting, good-looking goals, let's say.
Yeah, no, you're right. And how about you, Ruby? What do you think?
One of the rules I dislike the most, I can't think actually. There's a lot of controversy over certain rules, and like when the timer goes at the end and say you flick to shoot, if it goes in, does that count as a goal or not? There's a lot of controversy whether that would be counted as a goal or not, and I think the rule can be unclear. So maybe there is certain rules where the rule could be cleared up a bit better.
Yeah.
But then certain rules can be translated, and obviously certain countries can use the rules and read them slightly different to maybe another country, because obviously all large events, you always seem to find another new rule that you never quite knew about. But
yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and sometimes when I read the rules myself, I speak English, I read English, but when I read the rules, it's like what does this mean? I have to get somebody out. What does this mean exactly? So we have to go on the table and put the figures and try and figure out what that means. And then it's like, okay. So were the rules in English originally? Were they translated from another language? Because I've had French friends tell me they've read the rules in English, they've read the rules in French, and they said, well, it makes more sense in French actually than when they read it in English. They kind of, not because it's not their native language, you see, because it's the way it's written. It's a little bit more vague in English. I don't know if you feel that or not.
I suppose probably the main thing is with a lot of countries have words that don't really translate into another country. And English is probably one of those languages where translated would look maybe not how it would be read in the UK. I don't know. I'm not a linguistic person, so it's on how it got translated and what the correct understanding of the translation and what was it written in. I'll leave that for other people to decipher.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough too. So if you had a new member in your club, for example, coming in, there's how many pages? 64 pages of rules to go through or more.
The best way to learn people to play is to play. I'm sure some people can read a book and then be very good at copying what they read in the book, but I think for learning the game, there's nothing better than actually playing it in certain situations, and because the basic rules are pretty simple, really. What to do at a corner, what to do at a throw-in, what to do at a free kick, 3 flicks with 1 man.
Whenever we get a new member, we always say play, and we take them through it step by step. And if there's a new rule that they come across whilst playing, we show them what it is and what happens next.
Good, excellent. Well, that reminds me of that famous English magazine, Look and Learn. You remember that series? Is that still going on, or?
Probably not now. I wouldn't have thought.
Right. No, we used to get it in New Zealand because I grew up in New Zealand in the 70s and 80s. Look and Learn. So that's pretty good. Excellent. Getting back to tournaments. How long have you been playing now, Ruby? Sorry, I forgot.
7 years.
Okay, 7 years, 6 or 7. And do any particular tournaments stick out in your mind as being the most fun or enjoyable? Or tell us about that.
I can't miss my first World Cup in Italy, which was something I'll never forget. But more recently, Subbuteo-Fest, I won the plate, which was a big achievement.
Excellent. That's good. And who did you face in the plate final there?
I actually played my dad.
Beat me in the final.
Wow, there we go.
It was a Matthews final, which I lost on shots.
Excellent. Well, that's good to hear. You want your kids to supersede you, right? So that's great. Excellent. And so Ruby, this is probably a question which you probably are not sure how to answer, but because many things will happen in your life from now on. But where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years' time? Still playing Subbuteo, or?
Well, in 5 years, I'd love to still be playing, and I could say I still will be. But in 10 years, I know it'll be different because I'll be working. I might have gone through university, so not being at home, not having a pitch. It might make me more in and out of the game, but I'd like to still think that I'm playing and going to tournaments.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fair enough too. Yeah, because the future, we could all be cyborgs by then, like I mentioned to Elliot, have these little chips implanted, because I saw that Elon Musk just developed technology to do that, to enhance eyesight and also memory. So that's going to roll out in 2 years apparently. And then upload thing. I don't think it's a good idea to be personally, but upload memories into the cloud and download. It's just like
sounds a bit like Total Recall, doesn't it?
It's a bit
Total Recall.
Yeah, it's a bit scary actually. And then all these AI bots will come in. So I wonder if that will reshape just about everything. Well, this may be a good way to keep our sanity in the future. Well, anyway, it's been great interviewing you guys. I know you guys have to go. Is there anything else you'd like to mention that we haven't covered?
No, it's just a great sport or activity, hobby to be involved in. I just see myself plodding on, turning up at the odd event here and there, pretty much until I can't get there anymore. So let's hope I've still got a good 20 years.
Excellent. How about you, Ruby? Any final words or advice for the viewers? Or?
Well, I'm glad Dad showed me, and I think it's always down to, if your parents play, always give it a go. And if it wasn't for Dad coming into the game, I may not have ever began playing or even know what Subbuteo is.
Excellent. That's an excellent accolade. Excellent. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, Cayne. Thanks, Ruby. I hope you enjoy the birthday parties and have a great weekend.
And for you, nice to meet you, Andrew.
Nice to meet
And thank you very much.
Excellent, and I hope to get across the pond in the future. Maybe if not this year, then in maybe even at the World Cup.
Well,
Yeah.
for sure,
Meeting
whenever you're
person.
in the UK, give us a shout. We can all meet up.
Will do. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Cheers now,
Take care.
Andrew. See you now.
Bye.
Bye.
Take care. See you.
Bye.